Upper Room. The Upper Room has been a great place for us to explore what it means to be a disciple of Jesus and to be able to challenge one another to go deeper into becoming more like Him day by day, moment by moment, where we are living out the things that He has called us to. And, we are just 2 weeks into a new year. And I'm entering into this year as a disciple of Jesus myself from a place of humility. I feel like the last month and a half, God has really humbled me to a place where I have recognized that over the last few months, I have been trying to do things in my own power, in my own strength, in my own wisdom. And I was getting to a place where I was stressed, burnt out, tired, and really recognizing that I was not drawing my strength from Jesus. I was not looking to Him as the source of love and power and strength that I needed, but rather just trying to muster things up in myself. And I recognize that as disciples of Jesus, we never really arrive. And we can have great seasons of our life where we are following Him closely and we are connected to the vine and things are happening because of our close connection and intimacy with Him. But then for whatever reason, we as human beings tend to wander away from that. And we find ourselves in places, once again, depending and relying upon ourselves. And so I just want to have a simple challenge for us today. As a disciple of Jesus, as we head into a new year, don't focus so much on what is outside, on what is going on around you, and the stresses and the busyness and the worries that life can bring. But instead, we need to keep our eyes centered on Jesus. God has been bringing a story into my life over the last few weeks that I continue to read from a lot of different vantage points. And one time that is shared in the Gospels is Mark chapter 4, starting in verse 35. It's Jesus and His disciples. And they have already seen Him do incredible things. They've experienced His power. They've experienced Him healing. They've experienced His love and the way that He can communicate. But yet they still find themselves in a place where they take their eyes off of Him and they put it on the storm instead. And this is them on the lake one day. Mark 4, verse 35. It says, "On that day when evening had come, He said to them, 'Let us go across to the other side.' And leaving the crowd, they took with them in the boat, just as He was. And other boats were with Him. And a great windstorm arose, and the waves were breaking into the boat, so that the boat was already filling. But He was in the stern, asleep on the cushion. And they awoke Him and said to Him, 'Teacher, do you not care that we are perishing?' And He awoke and rebuked the wind and said to the sea, 'Peace, be still.' And the wind ceased, and there was a great calm. He said to them, 'Why are you so afraid? Have you still no faith?' And they were filled with great fear and said to one another, 'Who then is this, that even the wind and the sea obey Him?'" This is this incredible story that we've all heard before of Jesus sleeping in the middle of an incredible storm out on the sea. And in it, we see the disciples faced with a dilemma. They had waves crashing into the boat and wind was howling all around them, and they had reason to be terrified. They had a reason to be afraid if their focus was on the outside. But the thing about this story is that they forgot who was on the inside of the boat with them. Their focus, their attention, their gaze, their eyes were set on the storm. It was set on the things happening around them rather than who was inside the boat with them. And so they finally got to the point where they woke up the one who they knew could do something about it. And they asked Him a very important question. They asked, "Do you not care that we are about to die?" I think sometimes in our lives we can get to that place where there is so much going on around us, whether that be horrible things happening to us in the world, or we just get overwhelmed and stressed out with the things of life, that when our focus is constantly on those things instead of who is on the boat with us, we can eventually look up to God in desperation and say, "Do you not care? Do you not see what's going on in my life?" All the while, if we would recognize that He's sleeping because He has no fear of what's going on the outside. He's sleeping because He has no worry about what's going on. Because He can simply stand up and tell the wind and the seas, the one that He created, to be still, and they will listen because they recognize their Creator's voice. In the same way in our lives, Jesus has a desire for us not to be so overwhelmed and so consumed by the things that are happening on the outside that we forget to keep our gaze on the one that's on the inside of the boat with us. And so as we enter into this year, I want to challenge you. Where is your focus? Where is your gaze? Because if it constantly gets put on the things on the outside, the storms, the stresses, the worries, the busyness of life, then yes, we are going to live a life that is frazzled, that's afraid, that's wondering if God even cares. But if we keep our eyes set on him and pick up on his cues of him being relaxed and calm in the midst of the storm and gain our strength from him, then we'll be able to go through those seasons not unaffected, but with a peace and a confidence knowing that he is right there with us. And so Jesus is constantly trying to remind me, keep your eyes on me, keep your focus on me, spend time with me, grow in intimacy with me, depend on me, rely on me, and not on yourself. Because if you rely on yourself and your ability to get yourself out of a situation or make it through a season, then you're going to be just like the disciples here, freaking out, afraid, and wondering if God even cares. So friends, disciples of Jesus, he cares, he sees, he knows. But are your eyes on him, or are your eyes on the storm? Let's press into Jesus this year together. Have a great day.